Hello, this is What's Going On with Julie Swann. Welcome back to the second half of my show, and we have the VoiceOver Band with us, with Gene Thorpe and Skip Crone with us, and Alan Purdy, who's probably still stuck in traffic somewhere, but we're hoping he'll come in anytime. At this point, we have a lot more we'd like to say about the music business. Gene had something that he wanted to say regarding Gene, what's happening with the live element of music nowadays? I mean, are people going out to the clubs like they used to when we were like in our 20s or teens or?
Well, I think there's some robust musical activity going on out in Sacramento right now. There are a couple of clubs I like. I like Harlow's. I like Swabby's on the river. I mean, they've got a great scene going on. The Country Club out in Loomis has got stuff going on. There's a venue called the Blue Goose that's out there in that area, and other places, the Palms Playhouse and lots of different places, all up and down the Delta, lots of live music. But I think that the whole live music scene has changed from back in the day. We would have bands that would play various different songs by different artists, but they would have their own sound. They might be trying to record things like that. And now most of the bands, if they aren't bands that have had platinum hits or big hits in the past that are going through the circuit, and many of those are like tribute bands that will have the original singer, or some of them don't even have the original singer. Like Foreigner, I don't think there is a single member, or like Grand Funk Railroad,
Right.
without Mark Farner, and that's an interesting story. And so you have tribute bands. So we were up in Auburn last night and watching a Creedence Clearwater tribute band. Various different types of bands like that. So I think that what's happened to the music scene right now is that we don't have bands that have local followings like the Rutabaga Boogie bands, or like She Rocks Your Old Band, or
CP Crunt.
CP Crunt.
They were huge.
Yeah, and they would fill up auditoriums, or not auditoriums, but clubs, and do a real good job. And I just don't think that there's that kind of a nightlife. And I also feel like music has become devalued. We don't go down and buy an album for $13 any longer and want to go out and see the act live. I think most of the acts that I've gone to see recently are, like the bands that come to Thunder Valley or the amphitheaters, and who do you go see, Julie?
Well, like for instance, Heart's coming to Thunder Valley, and I love Heart. I've seen Heart at least 10 times. I never get tired of Heart. But as far as seeing a new act come in, it's been just forever since, I think I like Man, I like Tricky. Those bands have come and gone. I never did get to see them live. I see my friends' bands, but, I think YouTube has taken the artist and the label from each other. I think a lot of people did what Annie DeFranco did a long time ago, and has separated herself from the label and was her own kind of her own director. You can kind of have your own channel on YouTube. You can direct your own career via YouTube. And then if you get enough hits, I guess Gene knows this, that YouTube starts paying you for how many hits you get. And then via YouTube, you can become kind of somebody, right?
Right. And I think that it's a level playing field. I think a lot of people that might be songwriters and folks that can play multiple instruments can sure show their talent on YouTube and develop a following. And I think it's a great thing. I do really like YouTube, and I really do like the way that people can express themselves like that. But when you were talking about concerts, I know, Skip, you used to go and see a good number of concerts with your kids when they're growing up. Who do you go see?
Well, anymore, going and seeing some of these new acts. If you go to a big venue, it's very expensive to go see national touring acts at the arenas and things of that nature. So that cuts it down a little bit. It used to be when you could go see some of the your favorite acts at a club level. I think that's one of the reasons you have tribute bands that are so so popular. You're going to pay $350 to see, Paul McCartney, or you're going to see, the Fab Four at the State Fair.
Right, or Rain, or something like that.
All the Indian casinos have given, new life to some of these bands that aren't going to fill any place anymore, but you still get a chance to go see them, like the Foreigners, which are pretty much just a very good Foreigner tribute band at this point.
Well, you know who took over a big thing is Journey. I don't know if you've seen that documentary, but they got a little guy from the Philippines.
Was something
his
Pinnell?
name's, yeah.
Something Pinnell.
Pinnell.
Yeah.
And I forgot his first name, but his last name is definitely Pinnell. Arnell is his first name. His last name's Parnell. And, I mean, if he doesn't sing as well or better than Steve Perry.
He's pretty spectacular. Didn't they find him on YouTube?
They found him on YouTube.
Great
and
story.
And he brought life back into the band. Not only do Journey have a bigger crowd than ever, the Philippines are behind him. I mean, they love Arnell.
Julie, one thing I wanted to tell you is that our band VoiceOver, we are on YouTube. We spent last year playing different venues that we would have GoPro cameras there and record live. You can see the band. And also this coming Sunday, which is going to be the 20th of September, we'll be at Laughs Unlimited in Old Sacramento from 3 until 6:30. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what our shtick really is that we loved all of those bands, from the 60s and early 70s that came out and played and had vocals. And so what we've decided to do is put that together. And so instead of seeing just a Beatle cover band or a Yardbirds cover band or anything like that, we try to lend ourselves to that style. And because it's vocal harmony, we think it's a little bit different. And also being a three-piece. Sorry.
Well, no, I just have a real quick question just from a musician standpoint. I mean, if you have decided to become a vocal band and they were very big, I know that Journey almost lost their contract because their record company wanted a more vocal band. The first incarnation of Journey, they had Greg Rowley as the vocalist, and the company said, hey, we want you to become a more vocal band. How did you go into becoming it's hard to get those harmonies. It's hard to get three people to sing in harmony. What was your procedure to get three people to sing in that harmony? Did you get a keyboard and go, you're the 1, you're the 3, you're the 5? Or how did you do it?
Our rehearsals, we're working class people, especially in the studio. When we go to rehearse, we have fun because we laugh a lot because we enjoy each other's company.
Well, Gene's just funny to laugh at. No. I love him. No.
You want to defend yourself, Gene? Or?
No, he's got his dukes up.
But what I do want to say about it is that, so what we do is we pick songs that are going to be challenging vocally.
Okay.
And then here's kind of what happened with Skip and I. We got together. So I guess 1993, I was playing with Scott Davis and Craig Mosley from Rutabaga Boogie Band and Brian Clark on the drums. And
bless
it was,
his heart.
Yeah, bless his heart. And it was a good band, a working band. We were doing a lot of good gigs and that type of thing. But it was just so, it was intense at that point. And I wanted to get together and play a little more guitar, sing a little more of the kind of stuff that I wanted to do. And I started playing with Skip. And we had a fellow named Ron Behringer that was a real estate broker in Lincoln. And he and I worked in the same office. So every day we could rehearse. We would get together and work on one song or two. And because Skip and I have been singing together for 23 years, we just have gotten to where every time I was singing a part, he would sing harmony. Or if he's singing lead, I would sing harmony. But where it gets different is when you have that third part to arrange that. So like you were saying, do you get a piano and do the 1, 3, and 5 type of thing? Yes. And this is because for a couple of years, Skip and I were playing with a fellow named Jim Gallegos. I don't know if you remember him. He had a band called Wayside back in the day. Do you remember?
No. For some reason.
But they played, they were kind of a show band, and he's a very good vocal arranger.
Okay.
And so Skip and I worked with him for a couple of years, and we also were with a fellow named Ernie Apodaca and Drew Salee, some fellows that we played with for about 10 years. And so we got stretched out vocally that way. In other words, got to where we were singing more stuff. But Alan really came from the background of a band that did a lot of Beatles, a lot of Hollies, a lot of that kind of stuff. And he has a knack for saying, basically, no, that's not right. Let's keep on trying it until it is. And he'll work his parts out on the bass. And
On bass?
Oh, yeah.
Well, because I know that in my band, what people love is to hear that sweet harmony. I mean, I don't think harmony will ever go out of style. I think people love the sweet sound of a 3-part harmony in no matter what, if you're the 3-1-3-5, 1-3-7, whatever you choose. But my question, and I'm sure a lot of listeners who are players out there want to know, what is the approach? I mean, when you hit that first and someone goes to a third, it's very natural for the first to go up to the third, or the third to hit the fifth, and then all of a sudden everybody's singing either the root or the third.
Well, we just try it, and then what comes out, and then Alan goes, no, that's not right, and then he'll actually find the right note.
On the keyboard?
Well, or on his bass guitar.
That sounds
Either
so
one.
strange.
It is, but
I just can't see how you do it on bass.
It works.
It really boils down to hard work, going over it and over it, not settle for when it isn't right. And the reason why we brought these two tunes, Julie, is because, Nowhere Man is a pretty hard song to sing.
Right.
And so is the Eagles, they
have 5-part harmony. I mean, the Eagles have 5 people singing in their band. They really do.
Right. And they really do figure out, very, very good chord structures. But what we try to do is get 3 of the main parts. And basically, like in the Beatles, it was always 3 parts. And so when you're going to hear this next song, it's really basically 3 guys singing, and the only overdub in the whole thing is just another acoustic guitar. So it's a 3-piece band. Okay,
because we're going to listen to Take It Easy, but I just have one more question regarding this, and I know there's probably a lot of bands that would like to know, especially from, 2 gentlemen who've been in the business, many years and have accomplished this. When you do have your vocal practice, is it just the vocalist? I know a lot of bands, the drummer will be sitting there, oh God, do we have to just go over this one part over and over? Can't we just do it later? But do you take the time to stop and say, no, we're going to do this chorus, 1-3-5 or 1-3-5-7 being the vocal harmonies until we get it. And if you get bored, maybe you should walk out and go get a Coke or something.
Well, being 3-piece takes away the boredom because I play the drums and do the singing, so I'm just not sitting there. But sometimes we do it exactly as you will explain it. I mean, Gene will have his acoustic guitar, and we'll just sit there and go over a part, a chorus,
right,
or a verse with the ooze in the background or whatever it is, and we will do it until we get it right.
Right.
And if it takes all night, then that's so be it. We actually think working like that is actually fun to us. And it's something that we enjoy doing. It's not like there's many bands you hear nowadays which have, they're pretty much a trio with a singer.
Well, yeah, that's what I've always been in. Or we'll do gang vocals, as Glade used to say, where everybody is just singing the same note.
Well, there is a time and a place for that. The Beatles did that a lot, singing in unison.
Right, the gang vocal.
And I think that's it's a viable and it works. It just can't be done always. Otherwise, it gets and having 3 people that can sing a lead parts, will rotate. So in a set, you don't have just the same voice doing every song. You'll have a different lead voice, and then the other guys will be doing harmonies, which does add a little bit of flavor to it.
In fact, a lot of times, this is Gene. A lot of times, what we'll do is we'll have.
It was Juli.
Who is this?
This is Gene. This is Gene Thorpe right here. I'm here live.
Let's make sure of that.
Julie, what is the name of the radio station again? Please, go ahead.
This is KUBU, where you can be you.
I am being me.
You are you.
Anyway, so the thing is even in one song, a lot of times the one guy's singing the lead, on the verses, and another guy will be singing the lead in the choruses. And one other thing that we do that's kind of trick is when I'm playing a lead, a lot of times these guys will be singing 2 notes along with the bass. So it's like having an organ, with the background vocals.
Okay, so you'll have one guy singing like maybe the root note, the next guy singing the third, while Gene is playing a lead.
Yes, and it's kind of like just having an organ play, a triad, like as a pad, just pad it, just to fill it up a little bit.
Did you do it on Take It Easy? Because we're going to listen to that right now. Gosh, that is so cool.
Take It Easy has those incredible Eagle parts, and Skip and Alan, I think, really nailed them. You know, I mean, it's hard to brag like that about that, but check this out and see what you guys think. So.
Okay, well, the Take It Easy, the Eagles, Joe Walsh, they all have fantastic voice, great harmony. Here is Take It Easy.
Yeah. She just likes to keep up with the guys.
Running down the road, trying to loosen my load. I got 7 women on my mind. 4 that wanna own me, 2 that wanna stone me. 1 says she's a friend of mine. Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy. Not enough, but you still can. Don't even try to understand. Just take your place and make your stand. Take it easy. Standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, such a fine sight to see. It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford, slowing down to take a look at me. Come on, baby, don't say maybe. I gotta know if your sweet love is gonna save me. We may win, but we would never be here again. So open up, I'm climbing in. Take it easy. Running down the road, trying to loosen my load. I got a world of trouble on my mind. Looking for a lover that won't blow my covers. It's so hard to find. Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy. Not enough, but you still can. Don't even try to understand. Just take your place and make your stand. Take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy.
Very, very nice. That was VoiceOver Band with Take It Easy. Now I can understand now about what you're talking about the vocals and the guitar and the notes coinciding with the vocal with the guitar chord. I understand what you're doing, and it sounds really good.
Well, thank you, Julie. I'll tell you what we're looking for is we're looking for a couple of places that would be conducive for our kind of a band to play. So, like, you know, we play at Laughs Unlimited, and we're there once a month, every third Sunday. And so, once again, we'll be there Sunday the 20th coming up this weekend. And that's from 3 until 6:30. But we're looking for other places that has a reasonable stage, possibly have a sound system there, and that would be conducive to our kind of music.
Well, do you have a website, if anybody hears this, that they could get a hold of the VoiceOver Band?
Yes, we do. And the name of the website is voiceoverband.com. So VoiceOverBand.com. And on there you'll see a good number of videos, because right in the first page there's a little bit of a blog, and there's, I think we have a little blog one time where Skip and I were rebuilding one of our old monitors, and different things like that, and sayings and different interesting facts and that. But there are a good number of videos on there, and there's always the itinerary of where we're going to be or where we have been, and there's song lists on there and people that we've played for and things like that, bios.
Well, definitely. I want everybody out there that's listening, please check it out. I mean, I don't think I have yet to go to see one of Gene's bands that I didn't have just a blast. This is the kind of band that you can dance to. It's good to have a couple drinks. You're always smiling, laughing, loving every song, just enjoying it. And that's, I think, the main job of a band is to get people happy.
Well, we try not to be the bands that just talk to each other. You can see they're on stage and they turn around and they talk to each other.
Yeah,
and kind of pretend like the crowd's not there. You've seen those guys, right? So we try to not to be those guys. We try to engage the audience a little bit. I mean, we do talk to each other, but we try to include the audience in what's going on.
Well, remember the segue? Remember the day of, okay, we got to segue 5 songs, no dead air time. There was a big problem with that. Speaking of dead time, which I don't want to spend any dead time not talking about Mr. Dick Rossi. He was a big, big influence in Gene and I's life. What do you think about Dick?
Well, I'll tell you what I think about Dick. Is Dick did a lot of helping of lots of musicians that were struggling at the time. He gave credit to people that didn't have credit. He was always encouraging. He was a very great mentor for me, you, Julie, and a lot of the people that we worked with. And he would make us read books and give book reports on the book. And
would he really? He never did that to me.
Oh yeah, he used to make us read like Win Friends and Influence People, Think and Grow Rich. The Magic Power of Believing, Claude Bristol.
He did that for you, salesman?
Oh, yeah. Well, see, I started working for him in 1966. And in 1966, the Vox room really was full of Vox amplifiers and Vox guitars.
Well, that's where they got the name, Vox.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, and the Beatles were out big, and the Stones and Paul Revere and the Raiders and that. And so it was the only large music store around that I knew of in Sacramento. So it was a lot of fun. They had Sherman and Clay in that, but and Jack's House of Music.
Right.
But Dick was really a cool guy. He was grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. He was in World War II. He was an ex-Marine and a really nice, really good guy. Larry Gosh and I would go up and visit him in Reno, Nevada, all the way until, the end. He passed away when he was about 87 years old, and just a great guy. I mean, I would say that was it, and encouraging to the musical community.
What was his great saying? And you said it to me, and now I tell my daughter this: act, don't react.
Yeah, he would always say, act, don't react. He would say, what are you doing? Posing for holy pictures, and then the other thing that he would always say is he'd say, you got to change your way of thinking. And so he'd say, you got to change your way of thinking. I said, what do you mean you got to change your way of thinking? He says, well, do you have everything you want right now? Are you happy? Is your life good?
Of course, no.
And he'd say, well, then you better change your way of thinking,
And would he tell you how to change it?
Well, yeah, he would always tell you to focus on certain things, get engaged in the community, follow up with people, treat them good. They would come back, and he had people that would come back, for all their careers until he finally retired.
Well, I know Larry, all you guys really, really, emulated a lot of his life. I know Larry got a music store because he owned one. You have a very successful real estate career, band career. You're a broker up in Lincoln. You're a real successful man. And I think you owe a lot of that to Dick Rossi and his way of thinking.
Absolutely, and hanging around with those guys. And nowadays, and so, let me tell you what happened. When I did come out to Lincoln, one of the reasons why I did come out there is because I wanted to get out of, some of the drug-oriented stuff that was going on in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I met a guy out in Lincoln named Ron Berenger, and he was just like Dick Rossi. personality in that he was an encouraging, uplifting, good human being, and so he was our bass player. I played with him for 30 years until he passed away in last December. And Skip, you have anything you want to say about Ron?
I couldn't say enough about that man. He's in my thoughts almost every day, and it was a pleasure to meet him. And I'm just glad I met him. I'm glad I met you. I'm glad I met Julie. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Oh, God. You know what? This time has just flown by. I mean, we're at the end of our show already. Can you believe it?
I can't. It's gone by pretty quick.
I tell people every day what you got to do is get around people that have passion, and that when you get into conversations, the time goes by really fast. And when you're finished with the conversation, they have more energy than you had when you got there. And that's how I feel tonight. So you've got a great show, Julie.
Oh, thank you. Gosh, thank you for coming in. I'm so glad. And you know what? I want you guys to come back in. And,
it'd be great to have Alan come with us. He's a hoot. You'd love him. You'd love him a lot.
Well, obviously, he's probably just getting off the freeway. Alan, please come back in. Maybe in a couple months, why don't you guys come back, see what happened with your band, see what's new in the world, and let us know what's going on. Why don't you bring a few more pieces of music of your band?
We will do that. Let's make a date and do it.
Okay, sounds good. This
right.
is the Julie Swann Show, 96.5 on your FM dial KUBU, where you can be you. Thank you very, very much, you guys. And God, I had a blast, and I really, really want to see you guys again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Julie.
Have a good night.